All right, welcome everyone. Today, we're going to dive into a pretty wild idea, one that connects the vastness of the cosmos with our own communities right here on the ground. We're talking about a single principle that might just explain everything, from how stars are born to how we can actually, build a better world. And it all kicks off with this one single question from Dr. Nimrod Israeli. What if human society and galaxies are shaped by the same laws? I mean, that sounds kind of out there, right? But just stick with me here, because this question is our launch pad for an absolutely incredible journey. We're going to connect the biggest things we can possibly imagine with the tiny little details of our own lives. So, where do we start? Well, you might be surprised. Our journey doesn't begin in some fancy observatory or a physics lab. Nope. It starts right here, on the ground, in villages and fields, with a very human puzzle that, at first, just didn't make any sense. So, Dr. Israeli saw this really strange pattern. Over and over again, you'd have one community, right? They'd get all the inputs you could think of: water, credit, training, the whole deal. And yet, nothing. No lasting progress. But then you'd have another community, sometimes with way fewer resources, and somehow they just flourish. They'd create real, sustainable prosperity. It became clear that just throwing resources at a problem wasn't the answer.
So what was going on? What was this invisible difference? You couldn't measure it in dollars or gallons of water. It was something else. An intangible, unnamed force that was obviously there when things worked and just wasn't when they failed. It was almost like a kind of social gravity, something holding everything together in just the right way.
And then came the big aha moment. He started to realize this pattern wasn't just happening in these villages. He was seeing the exact same fundamental principle at work everywhere, anywhere complex things come into being. We're talking biology, economies, you name it. He was basically uncovering the hidden architecture of how things grow. And what he found was that success, whether you're talking about a farming co-op or a whole ecosystem, it always came down to three things working together in perfect alignment. First, you need energy. This is the fuel, right? It can be human energy, money, whatever. Second, you need structure. This is the framework, the pipes that organize and channel that energy. And finally, you need direction, a shared goal, a mission that gets everyone pulling in the same direction. Because think about it, without that alignment, all that energy just gets wasted. Okay, but when those three things do line up, energy, structure, and direction, that's when something really cool happens. It's called emergence. The system doesn't just get bigger, it becomes something fundamentally new, something way more capable than its individual parts. Like, a single cell isn't alive in the way we think of it, but put a bunch together with the right structure and direction, and you get life. It's a massive leap. The whole becomes truly greater than the sum of its parts. All right, so you with me so far? We've gone from farms to the basic principles of growth. Now, this is where the idea takes its biggest, most mind-bending leap yet. We're going from villages all the way to the fundamental forces of the universe itself. The big question becomes, what if this exact same architecture applies to everything? Just think about this for a second. In the cosmos, we have these massive, unseen forces, right? Dark matter, dark energy. Stuff we can't see, but we know it's there, shaping and organizing entire galaxies. Well, what if human societies work the same way? We also have our own invisible forces, things like shared beliefs, laws, values. You can't touch them, but they absolutely form the invisible structure that allows us to cooperate on a massive scale. And get this way of thinking can even change how we look at black holes. We usually think of them as these cosmic vacuum cleaners, right? An endpoint where everything just gets crushed. But what if they're actually the opposite? What if they're points where complexity gets so incredibly dense that it has to be reborn, maybe even as a whole new universe? They're not failures, they're transformation points. Now, this is the really crucial part. Dr. Israeli is saying this isn't just a nice metaphor, it's not poetry. He's arguing that these are real structural parallels, that the very same architecture of reality is at work on all these different scales, from a tiny village co-op to the formation of a massive galaxy. It's the same underlying rulebook. Okay, so we've identified this incredible pattern, right? It stretches all the way from the smallest human communities to the largest structures in the cosmos. It was finally time to give this thing a name.
to put a label on that unnamed force that he first noticed way back in those fields.
And it's called the Universal Law of Increasing Complexity, ULIC for short. Really, it's a framework that describes how complexity arises, how lasting, meaningful systems emerge whenever you get that perfect alignment of energy, structure, and direction. You can think of it as the official rulebook for emergence.
And this one law could provide a powerful logic for so many things that seem, well, kind of mysterious. It helps explain how life itself could emerge from just a bunch of chemistry. It shows how societies develop and build things that last for centuries. And maybe most importantly, it suggests that prosperity, when it's sustainable, isn't just luck. It's a direct result of getting this fundamental alignment right.
Okay, so a law that shapes galaxies, that's cool and all, but why does it matter to you and me in our daily lives? Well, this is where it all comes home. This is where the idea gets super practical. Because this insight, it completely flips our whole approach to solving problems. It tells us, hey, maybe the challenge isn't always about finding more resources, more money, more aid, more whatever. Maybe we need to shift our focus and start designing better systems. We have to ask ourselves, are our structures, our social systems, our economies, are they actually designed to channel all our collective energy toward a shared positive goal? See, what holds us back so often isn't a lack of creativity or effort. It's a lack of coherence. It's that our energy gets fragmented, pulled in a million different directions. Our structures are misaligned with our goals. Our sense of a shared direction is totally splintered. So, if we want to unlock real progress, the key is creating coherent systems where all our individual efforts can actually add up to something way, way bigger. And that brings us to the final, and I think most powerful takeaway. If this law really does shape reality, then that means it's a tool that we can use. We have the power to consciously apply it, to align our energy, to build better structures, and to agree on a common direction. It means we can literally design a better world. The question isn't whether it's possible anymore. The only question left is, how are we going to choose to build it?